That's the great thing about parchment papers and wax papers. Kind of like those wax lips you used to get back in the 80s, you know? Hey kids, here's a wax thing full of sugar, just eat it. I guess this week you kind of got a blooper reel as a second episode because nothing worked. I'm going to be spending this week trying to perfect this, and hopefully next week I can show you a finished product and everything that's actually good. And at the same time, we're going to do something on the side to do a brand new show. So stay tuned and check us out.
You can lock your doors, but you can't lock the madman out of your mind. Maniac. No one under 17 admitted.
Aw, where is it? Where's my name?
Hey, Orange, what you reading?
Stupid varsity lists. I didn't make either team.
Whoa, can you believe it? I'm a starter!
You're an apple.
Guys, those aren't teams.
Sure they are! It's gonna be a big game and everything!
Yeah, salads versus smoothies.
Hey! Ow!
Whoa!
Strawberry, what happened?
Oh, I think I landed on my teeth.
Yay!
Huh?
What? Now I get to play for Team Smoothie.
Nuh-uh! Nothing's keeping me out of the game.
Whoa!
Whoa! I guess Strawberry didn't make the cut. Ooh, ow.
Dude, those aren't teams. Those are recipes. Wait, my name isn't on there, is it?
Not likely.
The list for second place is in the ladies' room.
Look, Pear, it's a couple of kiwinis.
Kiwi? Oh God, that's on the list.
You know it.
No, that's not good. You've got to run for it.
Ah!
Hey, what happened to...
Oh no.
I hope those guys can blend in.
What's all the racket about?
Lettuce, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, you gotta head out.
Why is that?
Trust me, you should just leave.
Leave? But I just got here.
You got to get out of here. Run, run while you can.
Whoa, talk about getting flipped off.
Oh no, it's happening again.
Talk about a split decision.
For the last time, this isn't a game. There's no rules, it's just Wait, that's it. Orange, every time we talk to these guys, they get chopped up.
Or blended.
Whatever. The point is, maybe if we keep our mouths shut, nothing will happen.
I gotta keep my mouth shut?
Exactly.
But I've never done that before.
Whoa! What's going on up in here?
Hey, Apple.
Shut the mouth.
Oh yeah, right.
Yo, I'm talking to you guys. Hello?
Quiet.
What? What's wrong with you, man? You know, besides being an orange? Hey, Minute Maid, why don't you clean up this place?
Quiet.
What's the matter? Your mouth won't open? Maybe you're a little sit rusty? Booyah! What's your pal's name? Mr. Green Jeans?
Oh, I'm sorry. We were just trying to save your life. But then you gotta go and be an apple. Well, you know what?
What?
Knife! Man, that was one bad apple.
Smoothie! What? Did we miss the game?
Bored! Incredibly bored! Unrelentingly bored! Will nothing free me from this dungeon of dreariness? Guess not. Hey, Midget Apple, shouldn't a new friend be showing up about now?
Yeah, you'd think. But this drought's been really hard on produce. Could be a long time before we see any fresh fruit.
Well, then there's only one thing to do. We've got to break out the emergency snark kit.
Oh no, not the red shirt special! Okay, I'll admit it. That makes a pretty great title card, but you can't actually open the barrel. It's filled with nothing but one-note characters that could never carry an entire episode.
Nah, just leave it in the comments, Negative Nancy.
Fine! Meantime, I'm gonna lurk nearby until this blows up in your face and I can openly gloat.
Sorry, that's just so you.
Thank you, Muscly Muscles. I will kiss you in appreciation later. Woo, pretty ripe down there. Ah!
Oh, hello there.
Whoa, who's this kung fool? See that? First pitch. Knocked it out of the park.
The tiny one is right to groan. For my name is not Kung Fu. It is Hogigi.
Breadhead has the hiccups.
No! Hogigi! I'm a hoagie who wears a gi.
Oh, I see. You just took 2 words and sandwiched them together.
Are you done?
No, but I think you are.
What's that supposed to mean? Ah!
Psst, that dude was totally half-baked. Next!
Good evening, zomboys and ghouls. Tonight, I bring you tales of suspense, a tale of horror, a tale of shock. Brought to you by Mr. Vincent Price as Dr. Richardson and Lynn Ban as Nurse Eileen Jordan. Frank Littimore as Lieutenant Paul Stewart, and Mrs. Annabelle Shaw as Mrs. Janet Stewart. Tonight, we will visit back to the past, bring you forward to the present, and leave you lost somewhere in the middle. This is Killer Kitchen.
Oh, lady. That's how guys lose their jobs, not collecting fares.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little excited.
Thank you, lady.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Stewart. Would you give me my husband's room number, please? Lieutenant Stewart.
Lieutenant Stewart.
Yes, he's arriving today. I wired for the reservation. Lieutenant and Mrs. Paul Stewart.
You say you wired for a reservation?
Yes, Mrs. Paul Stewart.
I'm afraid there's been a slip-up. Apparently your wire wasn't received.
But I sent it 3 days ago.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stewart. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do for you.
You mean I can't stay here?
Well, I wish I could help, but we're completely booked up.
But I've got to stay here. This is the only place we can find each other. I thought for 2 years he was dead, and now I don't know if he's been hurt or what.
Please don't be upset, Mrs. Stewart. Perhaps I can arrange something. Has Mr. Walters checked in yet?
No, sir, not until tomorrow.
Fine, then we can give them 816C for the night. But you will have to leave by noon tomorrow.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Will you register, please?
Hello, this is Mrs. Stewart. Did my husband come in? No, thank you.
Followed me, Margaret. You've been spying on me.
I have. I've been watching you for months, making a fool of yourself.
I don't think so.
Bringing her here.
Elaine was just about to leave.
I didn't interrupt too soon?
Perhaps it's just as well things worked out like this, Margaret. I've decided to ask you for a divorce.
A divorce?
Well?
Why should I divorce you?
Oh, please, Margaret, let's be sensible. Whatever we had for one another is gone. We've been afraid to admit it before, but it's true. Elaine and I... Well, I love her.
You never loved anyone but yourself.
Please, Margaret.
I was good enough for you once, but now you want someone younger.
It's not that way at all. It's just that I can't go on with you any longer.
All right, Richard. You can have your divorce. You're right, we are strangers. But I have some pride, and no one's going to think you've cast me off like
Margaret.
that. You want your precious Elaine, and you can have her. But people are going to know the truth. I'll start right in by telling the room clerk you've been entertaining your girlfriend in our apartment. Then I'll call the newspapers. Careful, cautious Richard. Destroying everything he is for the sake of a cheap
Get
little...
away from that
You
phone,
asked for it, and
Margaret.
you're going to get it.
Leave that phone
I'll enjoy
alone,
telling
Margaret.
your friends
Leave
you
that
and your
phone
little lover
alone.
have been up to...
I hate you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Lieutenant Stewart.
Oh, yes, Lieutenant. We've been expecting you. Your wife's certainly going to be glad to see you, sir. Mr. Blake, this is Lieutenant Stewart. Mr. Blake's our manager.
Lieutenant, you really had us worried. I'm glad you finally got here.
For a while, I wasn't sure we'd make it. The weatherman threw the book at us.
Well, you're in for a real welcome.
816C, boy.
Oh, that's all right. I'd kind of like to surprise her.
Very well, sir.
Thanks. Darling, what's the matter? Janet. Janet, it's me. It's Paul.
Will return to Killer Kitchen only on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel.
Got a date, Bill? Sure, don't you, Ragmuff? No. Hey, you use water on your hair, too. How come your hair looks so good? I use Vaseline hair tonic with the water. Water evaporates and dries hair out. Alcohol and cream tonics evaporate, too. Won't Vaseline hair tonic evaporate? Nope. With Vaseline hair tonic, you can use all the water you want. It replaces oil that water removes.
Here's proof. This solar furnace concentrates natural sunlight. Watch what concentrated sunlight does to these hair tonics. This dish contains alcohol tonic. Look what happens to alcohol. This dish contains hair cream. Look what happens to cream tonic. But Clear and Clean Vaseline hair tonic hasn't evaporated away. In the bottle and on your hair, the difference is clearly there.
In the bottle and on your hair, the difference is clearly there. It's clear, it's clean, it's Vaseline hair tonic for your hair.
Thrill to the awe and mystery of the hidden world, the outer limits.
Do not increase your power.
We are controlling transmission. Do not attempt to adjust the picture.
whole town must be utterly destroyed. An example must be made.
From the inner mind of man to the outer limits.
But it faded and drifted like short wave. Then we lost the signal. We don't know if it's alive or dead.
The outer limits.
Every week on ABC.
And now, Mr. Serling.
Next week, you'll see these bandages unwrapped, and you'll get a good close look at the face beneath them. It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different. Our play is called The Eye of the Beholder, and it comes recommended. I hope we'll see you next week on The Twilight Zone. Thank you and good night.
We now return to Killer Kitchen.
Seems that old gal got herself into just a little bit of a jam. Let that be a lesson to you, little ghouls. Mind your business and stop minding your neighbors, or you might see something you don't like. But here's something you might like. We've already added a 1/4 cup of sugar and 1/3 of a cup of corn syrup, the light colored, so it's white. That was a 1/2 cup of water that we're going to add into this. Now we're going to keep stirring this slightly. We're going to add 1 more 1/4 cup of corn syrup. Get it all in there, so just let it drip and keep stirring. Now, you know, director Alfred L. Recker, this guy was a genius with his story. I mean, he really dug deep into a lot of what was happening in a lot of psychiatric care facilities and how fucked up and devious some of those people might have been and were. Now, as this heats up, I'm going to gradually and slowly pour the sugar in. In total, you want 1 1/4 cup of sugar. But you want to add it slowly and evenly. Just like so. This was written by Eugene Ling, Albert Demond, and Martin Berkeley. And I gotta tell you, of all Edgar Allan Poe's Edgar Allan Poe. See, that's how synonymous that Vincent Price is with Edgar Allan Poe's stories, and that's where he really made his mark. That's the Vincent Price you all know and love. See, I know him more from these stories and things like The Tingler. And remember, when you feel something crawling on your back, because if you don't scream, you might not wake up to scream. Now, while I mix this up, why don't we get back to Shock, starring Vincent Price in one of his earliest roles before he was known for the Man of the Macabre.
Janet, it's me. It's Paul. Janet!
Hello? Hello, operator? This is Lieutenant Stewart calling. Can you send the house doctor to 816C right away? It's very urgent. Thank you. Well? What is it? What's wrong with her, Doctor?
I'm not sure. I think she's suffering from some sort of shock. I'll be frank with you, Lieutenant. This is a little outside my line.
But there must be something you can do for her.
We ought to call in a nerve specialist, a psychiatrist.
Can you suggest one?
There's a very good man in the hotel, Dr. Cross. If we're lucky, we might find him in. This is Dr. Blair. Will you see if Dr. Cross is in for me? Thanks. Cross has had a lot of experience with this sort of thing. I'm all right for a broken arm or an old-fashioned hangover, but when it comes to the mind, well... hello, Dr. Cross. This is Blair in the hotel. How are you? Say, I've run into something that's right up your alley. One of the guests here's had some sort of shock. No, I don't know what caused it. Oh, would you? Well, that's mighty nice of you. Thanks, Doctor. 816C. He'll be right with us.
She was so alive when I saw her last. I can't quite believe this.
Better snap out of it, Lieutenant. I don't want another patient. Dr. Cross is one of the best men in this part of the country. I'm very happy that he's going to have a look at it.
I don't get it. What could have brought it on?
I wish I could tell you. The mind's a strange instrument. What affects me may not bother you in the slightest. The workings of the mind depend on so many things inside as well as outside. You can't make hard and fast rules.
Well, I suppose it is plausible that she hasn't been feeling well. Worrying about me, not knowing whether I was dead or alive. Then coming here and not finding me.
That'll be Dr. Cross. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
I appreciate your promptness.
Not at all. The sooner you get to a case of shock, the better.
This is Lieutenant Stewart, Dr. Cross.
How do you do, Lieutenant? Thanks for coming, Doctor. My wife is in the bedroom. She doesn't know me. She doesn't seem to know anything. Were you here when it happened? I just got in a few minutes ago. When I opened the door, she was sitting on the divan. Her eyes were wide open. She was staring at nothing.
Did you notice anything peculiar about her actions when you saw her last?
I've been a prisoner of war for 2 years. I've just come home.
Oh, I see.
She's had a rugged time of it, all right. First thinking I was dead, then hearing from me. On top of all that, my plane was 12 hours late.
Would you say that she was a nervous, imaginative girl?
No, sir. I've known her all my life. We came from the same small town in Michigan. Went to school together. She's just a nice kid. What's wrong with her, Doctor?
She's had a nervous collapse, went into shock. Where did you find her?
In the living room.
In the living room? You said she was sitting on the divan.
Yes, right here.
I see.
What do you think could have caused it, Doctor?
Well, that's difficult to say. You have no idea how long she might have been sitting there.
No. Oh, the clerk did say she phoned down about 1 in the morning.
Between 1 and 8:30.
What difference does that make, Doctor? The important thing is what can you do for her?
It's hard for a doctor to make promises. We can only do our best. Are you living permanently at the hotel?
No, as a matter of fact, we've got to clear out by noon.
Oh, I see. But then I'd better take her to my place. She's going to need someone with her night and day.
Dr. Cross has a private sanatorium just out of town.
I see.
Believe me, Lieutenant, it's best for her.
But there must be a hospital here in San Francisco. I'd like to be near her.
Of course. But I'm at my place every day. It's in the country, and she'll get plenty of fresh air and quiet.
If I were you, Lieutenant, I'd listen to Dr. Cross.
Okay. You men know best. Just get her well again.
I was getting ready to leave when you called. I'll take Mrs. Stewart up with me now. Hello, this is Dr. Cross. Will you get my office, please?
I'm going along with her, Doctor.
I'd rather you waited, Lieutenant, until I've been able to give her a thorough examination. It's quite possible your presence may excite her and do her more harm than good.
It's just that it's been so long since I've seen her.
Why don't you drive up with me tomorrow? Miss Jordan, will you call the hospital and tell Miss Hatfield to have a room ready for a new patient? We'll be there shortly. Yes, that's right. You pick us up at the hotel. Right. You'd better pack a bag for your wife, Lieutenant.
Thanks, Doctor.
I'm from Dr. Cross's office. We were to pick up a patient.
Oh, yes. They're on their way down now.
Thank you. Your car's waiting, Doctor.
Thank you. This is Miss Jordan from my office, Lieutenant Stewart.
How do you do, Lieutenant?
Mrs. Stewart has had a nervous collapse.
What a shame. Don't you worry, Lieutenant. We'll soon have her well again.
You'll call for me in the morning, right?
Yes, I'll pick you up at 11:30. Put her to bed and have Dr. Stevens give her an injection of scopolamine.
Yes, Doctor.
Miss Hatfield,
Good morning, Doctor.
your patient is coming in at the ambulance entrance. You have a room ready?
Yes, I have, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Doctor. How is she?
Quite relaxed, sir. What's her trouble?
Amnesia shock. She's had her injection.
Yes, she's ready to talk now.
Thank you. That'll be all. I'm Dr. Cross, Mrs. Stewart. I am your friend. I'm here to help you. I want you to think. You're going to remember things now. You went to meet your husband at the Belmont Arms. Do you remember that? You were worried about Paul. He didn't arrive on time. You were too nervous to sleep. Did you walk out on the balcony?
Yes. I walked out on the balcony.
See, you can remember. Now, what did you see from the balcony?
They were quarreling.
You heard them distinctly?
I...
Did you hear them distinctly?
He's trying to stop her. He's going to hit her. He's hitting her head. He's killing her.
Who? Who's hurting the woman?
That man. He's her husband. He's killing her.
Well?
She knows, Elaine. She remembers. Her room was opposite my apartment. She walked out on the balcony. She heard everything. Yes?
Can you come now, Doctor? They're having trouble with Mr. Edwards again.
Yes.
Will return to Killer Kitchen only on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel.
hard, don't they, Barney?
Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard.
Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them.
Gee, we ought to do something, Fred.
Okay. How's about taking a nap?
I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break.
That's it! Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend.
Yeah, Fred. Filter blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobacco, specially selected and specially processed for good flavor in filter smoking.
Yeah, Barney, Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
It still tastes good like a cigarette should.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. East side, west side, and up, down, and down. Rheingold Extra Dry Beer is the beer of great renown. Friendly, freshening Rheingold, always happily dry. The clean, clear taste you want in beer is in Rheingold Extra Dry. From Lexington to Madison and on both sides of Park, they ask for Rheingold Extra Dry before and after dark.
From Coney to Connecticut on Flatbush Avenue.
From Jersey scenes way out to Queens, they sing as millions do. My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Friendly, freshening, and happily dry beer. Dry means clean, and it's clean.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. Over this station, we will bring you the awe and mystery of modern science, which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits. The outer limits.
From bad to verse.
Are you guys into the whole gross, moldy, and weird?
Don't miss the most misunderstood ghoul in showbiz.
On Killer Kitchen.
Saturday nights at 10 on WKZF, Channel 68.
Now, Mr. Serling.
Next week, you'll see these bandages unwrapped, and you'll get a good close look at the face beneath them. It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different. Our play is called The Eye of the Beholder, and it comes recommended. I hope we'll see you next week on The Twilight Zone. Thank you and good night.
We now return to Killer Kitchen.
Now, boys and ghouls, it looks as though we might have caramelized this just a little bit. But what people don't know is in the kitchen, and most of you do know, nothing's ever quite as it seems. So we have a game plan in mind. Even though it is a little caramelized, that's okay. It won't be clear. But the fact that it's not clear may be a good thing. See, we're going to take, first, a little bit of yellow. A couple of drops here. Then we're going to take some red. Now on the opposite side of that pan, a couple of drops of red, right into the center. Now, we're going to take some blue, and we're going to go north. Just like that. And then finally, just a little bit of green, and we're going to go south with that green. even this out just a little bit. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and before it dries and has a chance to harden, we're gonna make our own stained glass. Nothing is ever as it seems in the Killer Kitchen. And when we make glass candy, we don't just make glass candy. We make stained glass candy. Hot motherfucker! Ow!
Darling, I didn't think you'd ever get here. I love you.
You've got a headache. I can tell from your eyes.
Yes, it's bursting.
You did it?
Yes. Yes, I did it. It was horrible, Elaine. I had the porter take the trunk down. I told the hotel manager I was joining my wife in Carmel for a few days to ship the trunk to my lodge.
No one knew she was in town last night?
No, she came up the back way. She wanted to surprise us, remember?
You're not sorry. Are you?
I wish I'd called the police. I lost my head. I didn't mean to kill her. There was no premeditation. But now I've concealed her body. I've shipped the trunk to my lodge. Well, you know as well as I do there's only one answer for that. I shouldn't have listened to you, Elaine.
Think, darling. What would have happened if you'd called the police? Manslaughter means 20 years. What would that have done to you, to us?
I don't know.
Would you have wanted it that way? Now no one knows. We're safe.
You're forgetting Janet Stewart, aren't you? She knows. What if she talks?
I haven't forgotten her. She can't tell what she's seen as long as she's in this condition, can she?
The shock will wear off in a couple of weeks at the most.
It'll wear off if you let it, Dick.
Elaine, I'm a doctor.
She'll talk only if you let her. You mean too much to me. It's the only way out, Dick. It's the one and only way out for us.
If I don't know, Elaine, I've got to think. Good morning, Mrs. Penny.
Good morning, Doctor.
You're looking very well today.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Miss Hatfield. This is Lieutenant Stewart. Miss Hatfield's our head nurse.
How do you do, Lieutenant?
Is Miss Jordan with Mrs. Stewart?
Yes, she is, Doctor.
Good morning, Lieutenant.
Janet. Darling, it's me. It's Paul. I'm home, dear.
She's worse. Not really. She was restless, and we gave her a sedative. You've got to be patient, Lieutenant. It's going to take time. And you must try to stop thinking of your wife as she was. You see, when you were reported killed, she had a terrible time adjusting herself, but she did. Then when the news came that you were alive and on your way home, it was hard for her subconscious to accept that because the first adjustment had been so difficult. Then, of course, when your plane was late, she thought she'd been tricked, that you'd never sent that wire.
Don't try and let me off easily, Doctor. Give it to me straight. Tell me, can you help her?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Sit down, Lieutenant. The mind is a delicate, fragile thing. It's almost as intangible as faith. And that's what you're going to need. A lot of faith in yourself and in your wife and in me.
Please don't think I haven't faith in you, Doctor, because I have. But yesterday, after you left with Janet, I needed someone to talk to.
Of course.
So I went to the Army hospital and I talked with some of the doctors. I told them Janet was in your care. They said that I couldn't find a better man. But, well, you know how it is. I figured that maybe two minds might be better than one. And I asked if another opinion mightn't help.
Well, that's perfectly understandable. If you want a consultant, by all means, bring one in.
Thanks. They recommended Dr. Franklin Harvey.
Harvey? Well, I studied under him. He's probably the best man in his field.
Oh, that's swell, Doctor. I was a little embarrassed. I didn't want you to think that...
Not at all. I'll phone Dr. Harvey and have him out here.
Good. Well, I might as well go back to town. If it's all right, I'll run out again tomorrow.
For Mrs. Stewart's sake, I'm going to have to ask you to observe our regular visiting days, Sundays and Thursdays. I'll phone Dr. Harvey and try to have him out here Thursday so that you can talk with him then.
Okay, we'll make it Thursday.
Oh, I thought you'd like to know, Lieutenant. She's resting quite easily now.
Thanks. Goodbye, Doctor. Miss Jordan.
Bye.
Mrs. Stewart. Mrs. Stewart. You're going out on that balcony again, Mrs. Stewart. You're looking into the other apartment. You're listening to the argument. Do you remember what happened to the woman? He's hitting her. He's hitting her with the candlestick. And now he's hitting you.
No.
Hitting you with the candlestick. Hitting your head again and again.
My head is hurting my head.
The candlestick is killing you. Soon you won't be able to remember anything. You can't hear the sound now. You can't hear anything. You can't hear. You can't remember. You can't remember. You can't remember. Edward's condition is deteriorating rapidly. If this continues, we will have to take steps to put him in a more suitable institution.
She's exhausted. You haven't got far to go.
Lane, do you think you could manage it here alone for the weekend?
Certainly. Why?
The trunk should be there tomorrow.
I've been wondering. There are no servants at the lodge. What'll happen when the trunk is delivered and there's no one to receive it?
Nothing. They'll just leave it on the back porch.
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow. Dr. Harvey's due here this afternoon.
Harvey? Coming here for what?
Stewart requested a consultation.
You're not going to let him examine her.
Of course. How would it have looked if I'd said no?
But he might discover something.
He has no reason to be suspicious.
You can't risk it. I won't let you.
I know what I'm doing, Elaine.
Darling, you're not thinking clearly.
I've never seen things so clearly before in my whole life.
You'll send me a report on her spinal test?
Yes, Dr. Harvey.
And the other specimens?
Yes.
You know, Richard, I'm not sure I completely agree this was all brought on by her husband's late arrival. That was a contributing circumstance. I feel there may have been something else.
Well, that's always possible, of course, sir. But I found no evidence of it.
Just speculation.
Will you have a cigar, sir?
Yes, thank you. Let's continue the present treatment and see how she comes along.
Yes.
I notice, Richard, you've been giving her sedatives.
Yes, I have. She's been pretty difficult at times.
I'd go easy on them. If she's under sedation, there's no way of knowing when she comes back to normal.
No, I'd planned to take her off them within the next 24 hours.
Fine. By the way, how's Margaret?
I'm joining her at the lodge.
Give her my regards when you see her.
I will, thank you, sir.
Well, I'd better talk with the young man. Sometimes I wonder which are more difficult, patients or their families.
Hiya, beautiful.
Hi.
Yeah, what a night. You don't happen to know a blonde who'd like to relax with me, do you? That's what I thought you'd say.
Coffee?
Please. And poor Edwards, these storms don't do him any good. He kept ducking into his closet and slamming the door after him. Finally had to lock it. How's your patient?
All right, I guess.
I was talking with her husband. It's kind of tough coming home and finding a wife in that condition.
Yes.
Can't figure Dr. Cross's treatment. Why keep the poor guy from seeing his wife? I think it would have helped snap her out of it if she saw more of him.
Dr. Cross doesn't want to get her excited. After all, the attack was brought on by worry over him.
Yeah.
That was close.
It's time to turn in. So you better tuck your patient in bed and get a good night's sleep.
Yes, I should be up there now.
Tell me, is it true that doctors get a night off once in a while?
If you had a night off, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Wouldn't I? Wouldn't I?
Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
Well, another stormy weekend. It is my night off. Well, anyway, the rain will help Jane on her day off.
Will return to Killer Kitchen only on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it. If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist. If a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, or organizations labeled communist by the Department of Justice, she may be a communist. If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist. If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently.
In the entertainment centers of the world come new stars to celebrate our fabulous 15th season on television. You'll be seeing top stars and exciting new acts from this country and around the world. So join me, won't you? Right here on The Ed Sullivan Show.
We are controlling transmission. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. Thrill to the awe and mystery of the hidden world, the outer limits. You will journey into strange realms of science fiction. You will journey through uncharted galaxies from the inner mind of man to the outer limits. The outer limits. Every week on ABC.
We now return to Killer Kitchen.
So, you know, while on the set making this film, Lynn Barry was talking to co-star Annabelle Shaw and mentioned that she was a direct descendant on her mother's side of Revolutionary War hero, third vice president ever, Alexander Hamilton. Now, check this out. Here's the kicker on this story, right? Shaw was actually a direct descendant of Alan Burr, America's third Secretary of Treasury. Now, check this out. These two had a long-standing, like, just bitter fucking relationship. They hated each other. Imagine Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi, but like 100 years ago. Okay? And I'm not even trying to talk shit. I'm not even trying to be Republican, Democrat, none of that shit. Just imagine, you remember how Nancy acted, and you remember how Donald Trump was. So, now, imagine that in 1804, it was like that. Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi go out and they go for a duel. Well, Aaron Burr was the one that actually killed Alexander Hamilton, and it was in that famous 1804 duel. And it was just simply the final result of a bitter rivalry. Now, personally here, I'm really glad that it didn't come down to a duel between Pelosi and Trump, because Pelosi probably would have won simply because Donald Trump is the type of gentleman that would have let her shoot him just because he couldn't shoot a woman. So, you know, for all the shit you guys give conservatives, you got to give them that. We might be old-fashioned. Oh, they might be. Not we. I am not a conservative. I'm more liberal than half you fucking liberals out there. I know better. I follow Freddy Krueger against Jason Voorhees. You think a mask makes you scary? Nah, sorry. This makes you scary. Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump, conservatives have a way about them. And they get taken advantage of. And the reason is because they have a kind heart. We're liberals. Fuck you, fuck your system, fuck your government, fuck your country. We're going to take it over. And that's the fucking world we've been living in since 1963. Now, I've been trying to watch my language, and I've been trying to be cool. But you know what? Somebody had to fucking say it. Anyway, speaking of 1960, let's carry back a little farther and go back to 1946. This, right here, is Killer Kitchen, and you're watching Shock, starring Vincent Price, Annabelle Shaw, and Lynn Barry.
Dr. Cross?
Yes?
How are you? My name's O'Neill. I'm with the district attorney's office in Monterey County.
Oh, yes. What can I do for you?
It's in connection with your wife's death, Doctor.
I thought the case had been closed.
Something happened this week that made us consider the possibility that your wife didn't fall into that chasm by accident.
I don't understand.
A couple of days ago, someone broke into Harwood Lodge, beat Mrs. Harwood into unconsciousness, and made off with her valuables. We caught the thief day before yesterday.
But what has that to do with Mrs. Cross's death?
It may not have anything to do with it. It occurred to us that since the lodge was so close to your place, the man who clubbed Mrs. Harwood may have paid a visit to your wife. You've lived around Point Lobos for nearly 10 years. Mrs. Cross spent much of her time there. She must have known those cliffs pretty well, even at night.
Yes. I'd hate to think that
I'm not saying it was murder, Doctor. I'm just checking.
Of course. I'll do everything I can to help you.
I knew you'd feel that way about it. Have you checked your place to see if anything was missing?
I'm sure there isn't, or I'd have noticed it.
If it's all right with you, Doctor, we'd like to have Mrs. Cross's body exhumed.
But the coroner said...
It was only a routine examination.
Well, I don't know as that's necessary, Mr. O'Neill. You've got your man.
All we've got is a drunken old tramp who clubbed Mrs. Harwood and stole a little money and jewelry. We can't know about Mrs. Cross unless the body's exhumed.
But it seems almost sacrilegious. Hasn't she been through enough? Haven't I?
I'd hoped you'd be more understanding, Doctor. Naturally, we'll get a court order, but it would be much simpler if you... If this tramp killed your wife, you want to see him punished, don't you?
Of course.
Then you can't conscientiously object to the exhumation.
No. No, Mr. O'Neill, I can't. If the man is guilty, he must be punished, of course.
Thank you, Doctor. You'll hear from me one way or the other within the next few days. Thank you for your cooperation.
Darling, I've been so worried I didn't know what had happened to you. Where have you been?
City.
When you weren't here for dinner, I began to worry. What did the man from the district attorney's office want?
They're going to exhume Margaret's body.
You're not going to let them.
I had nothing to say about it. They'd get a court order.
But why are they? I don't
think some prowler may have killed her.
Prowler?
They weren't looking for anything before. She slipped and fell and fractured her skull against the rocks. Now they may discover it wasn't the fall that killed her.
They can't prove anything.
No. Once they start asking questions, That's why I went to the city. I had to make sure that I hadn't overlooked anything in the apartment. Why didn't I report it in the first place? Why did I let you talk me into it? If it weren't for that Stewart girl, if they start asking questions and find her...
Maybe they won't find her. We've taken care of everything else so far. If we have to, we'll take care of her, too. And you're not helping matters acting this way.
If a man wanted to, if he had courage, he could get rid of her and no one would ever know. The doctor has an advantage. I could give her insulin shock treatment. Shock treatment's indicated in a case like hers. I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose. No one would ever know the difference.
Then we'd be safe. No matter what the district attorney's office found, we'd be safe. They'd have nothing on us, Richard. We could get married then. You'd be yourself again, Richard. We'd find peace and quiet here, just the two of us.
You don't think I'd do it, do you?
Why not? Is her life more important than ours?
I've had enough. Look, Elaine, I can't go on like this. Things keep piling up. First it was Margaret, and then tricking that child so that she'd forget. Then convincing her that she was insane. There's a limit beyond which even I can't go.
Richard, Remember the first night I came here? Remember? You were alone. We were sitting here in front of the fireplace with a sick headache. The lights were out. You didn't hear me when I knocked, and I opened the door and you said, "Oh, it's you, Miss Jordan." You called me Miss Jordan then, remember? I told you I had to see you about Mrs. Penny's prescription. You talked to me and you saw that I was tired and you asked me if I wouldn't have a drink. I hesitated and you said, "I won't bite your head off, Miss Jordan." And we had a drink. Remember? You sat here for a long time and then suddenly you laughed and you said your headache was gone. And you asked me about my family and I told you. And we both laughed. Remember? Then you took me in your arms. I know you remember that.
I won't do it, Lily. I won't do it.
Just a minute, I'm coming.
Hello, Doctor.
Come in.
I hope you hadn't gone to bed.
No.
They told me at the hospital I'd find you here.
I didn't expect to see you so soon, Mr. O'Neill. I thought you'd phone me if there were any developments.
I had to serve the papers.
Oh, yes?
Coroner's inquest subpoena. Now it's legal.
What did the coroner find?
Your wife was murdered, Doctor.
Oh? Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Sit down, Mr. O'Neill.
She was beaten over the head, suffered an explosive fracture. Death was practically instantaneous.
This prowler you told me about, you think he did it?
Seems so. He clubbed Mrs. Harwood. Your wife went out the same way. A pattern. Killers usually follow a pattern.
You don't know how she was killed? I mean, the weapon?
She was struck with a candlestick.
A candlestick? Are you sure?
A heavy silver one.
How can you know?
Microscope. There were particles of silver in the wound. They told us it was a silver object. There were bits of wax mixed in with the silver. They told us it was a candlestick. It must have been a heavy candlestick to have done the damage. Just routine, Doctor.
A criminal doesn't have much of a chance these days, does he?
No, sir. By the way, do you have any silver candlesticks at the lodge?
We might have.
I'd like your permission to go through the house. The murderer may have left the candlestick behind, in which case we'll get fingerprints. If he got rid of the weapon, we may be able to find the mate. Then we'll know what to look for.
Of course, go right ahead.
Thanks. Now, if we can find the candlestick, our troubles are over. By the way, when did you see Mrs. Cross last? Alive, I mean.
Oh, a couple of weeks before she was killed. Why?
Can you place it a little more definitely?
I think so. Things had been piling up around here, and I needed a change. So I drove down to Point Lobos on a Friday night.
Anyone see you?
I don't think so. Why?
We're trying to fix the exact time of her death.
Well, I'm not sure anyone saw me. I drove down there on Friday night, left there around 9:30 Saturday night.
Well, it's not too important.
Naturally, I want to do everything I can to help you, Mr. O'Neill. If I think of anything, I'll get in touch with you.
Thanks. Sorry to bother you so late.
That's all right.
See you at the inquest. Good night, Doctor.
Good Night.
Thou love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep only unto her, so long as ye both shall live. I will.
What's the matter, Richard? You haven't been yourself lately. Something on your mind? Darling, what's happening with us? Richard, I must speak to you. People are talking about you and that nurse, Miss Jordan. How do you like my hair, Richard? Of course, I've had it dyed. Everyone says it makes me look years younger.
I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose.
Then we'd be safe. No matter what the district attorney's office found, we'd be safe.
Will return to Killer Kitchen only on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel.
Uncut, uninterrupted, 4 hair-raising, spine-tingling, twisted tales of the unexpected. Going my way. Of the disconnected.
Who's on the line?
Of the resurrected.
Well, he's alive. He's a dummy. He's a black on wood.
And the misdirected.
I was only trying to protect my home.
For the best from the Twilight Zone. Monday night at 8 on Channel 11.
You're sick people, all of you.
I am Dracula. A moment ago, I stumbled upon a most amazing phenomenon. Something so incredible, I mistrust my own judgment. Look.
Dracula. The very mention of the name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading. You wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
Rats. Rats. Thousands. Millions of them.
But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula, the original terrifying story of a maniac and a man who lived after death, lived on human blood, took the form of a vampire bat, and lured innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you, dearie? Tell me.
He came to me. He opened a thing in his arm, and he made me drink.
Good morning. It's your hat. Dennis brought it. It's a little sticky. I don't know exactly. Something about hot root beer. Are you planning something with Dennis today?
Oh.
Well, eat your Rice Krispies. Then we'll talk about it.
I think I better get dressed.
What about...
I think I can face anything today, Martha. Even Dennis.
Kellogg's, good morning. The best to you each morning. K-E-double-L-O, double good Kellogg's, best to you.
In the entertainment centers of the world come new stars to celebrate our fabulous 15th season on television. You'll be seeing top stars and exciting new acts from this country and around the world. So join me, won't you? Right here on The Ed Sullivan Show.
Thrill to the awe and mystery of the hidden world, the outer limits.
Do not increase your power.
We are controlling transmission. Do not attempt to adjust the picture.
The whole town must be utterly destroyed. An example must be made.
From the inner mind of man to the outer limits.
But it faded and drifted like short wave. Then we lost the signal. We don't know if it's alive or dead.
The Outer Limits. Every week on ABC.
We now return to Killer Kitchen.
Welcome back, boys and ghouls. Now, we've made our glass candy sure to cut the roof of your mouth on the first bite. And tonight, we have a special guest amongst us. But before I introduce our friend, I would like to show you one more trick. You see, I've decided that tonight, it's not good enough to just have some glass candy, but you gotta have some other candy to go with. So we are gonna take some melting white chocolate and put it in here with a half a stick of butter. And we're gonna melt this on a medium heat. And as we melt this, we actually got a phone call here tonight. Scott, this is the Killer Kitchen audience.
So, Wally?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Lighting some candles here.
Scott here has actually been going back and watching all of the old episodes, which actually inspired me coming back tonight and returning to the glass candy disaster that we had a year ago.
I'm not sure if I've seen that episode just yet. I can't wait to watch it.
It was a disaster. Nothing. I was very clear at the end of that one. It was more of a blooper reel.
Hey, it's a horror. It's a horror show, man. So what if you made some horror candy? Right?
You know what's funny? I was gonna throw that shit away. My friend here in town came by, right? And he wanted to try some, so I let him take a bunch, right? He was back the next effing day, brother, literally like wanting the rest of it. He's like, "You got any more of that? I want some more." I was gonna throw the shit away, and he's like, he's back the next morning. I want some more.
So you need to brand that stuff.
It was like tar and taffy. It was really, really bad. I'm like,
Get me some of that.
I don't even know if I could know how to make it again. You'd have to watch that episode. It was a 2-part episode. Now you'll see, I let our chocolates here get extremely melted. So I'm kind of mushing the bag down in here. I've got it on a low heat for now. And we're just going to melt this down slowly under a low heat using our skeleton claw. So Scott, I wanted to say thank you for joining us tonight here on the Killer Kitchen.
Oh yeah, happy to be here with you, buddy.
That's It's really cool of you to stop in and like join us tonight, man. Scott here has been watching all the old episodes and kind of filling me in on how they used to look. Anytime you guys want to leave a comment or even make a phone call, we are going to leave a phone number at the end of this episode, as well as you guys got the comments down below. And just for shits and giggles, I think this is a little thick. We're gonna add some more butter. For shits and giggles, not only do I want to leave you guys that phone number and you got the comments, but I want to let you guys know that for everybody out there who just watches Killer Kitchen and Vincent's Varieties, and you guys just dig what I'm doing, not my music videos, not my little TV show shit, the real Killer Kitchen. And if you ever get at a loss, just remember, Ghostbusters came out 2 years after Ghostbusters. So the real Ghostbusters was created. We are the real Killer Kitchen.
I like that.
Thank you.
Can I say that? That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just subscribed to the real Killer Kitchen too, so.
Much appreciated. Yes.
I think just for everybody. I think for everybody.
So all you guys out there, if you're just here, if you're just digging the Killer Kitchen, then please come on over and dig us right here at the real Killer Kitchen. In fact, in the real Killer Kitchen, Scott, I want to let you know too, you're going to get extras that you will not get here on the Angry 80s Guy. Blooper reels, full episodes, extra episodes that I just didn't want to put up here on the Angry 80s Guy. And you know what? I think that you guys will have a lot more fun on that channel, because I can be a lot more free to do me.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's go. I can't wait to see the extra stuff, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
It's like I could be there hanging out with you from across the country.
Hey, that reminds me. Thank you. I want to do a big shout out to Noah, who commented in our last Vincent's Varieties and was actually saying just what Scott was saying, how it was like hanging out with me. I want to hang out with you guys. I want you guys to kind of get that notion that, like, okay, it's through a video camera, but we're just digging life and doing it together. Because whether you're 1,000 miles away or 10,000 miles away or even fucking all the way around the world, dude, here, we're just one big family. We're all about fucking being cool and hanging out and just digging life.
Yeah, I like that. That's my favorite part about your show, man. It's cool. Very good stuff in that regard.
Well, while I finish melting this chocolate, Scott, if you want, you're welcome to hang out through the end of the show. But I think we should get to the conclusion of Shock.
Yeah, roll that shit, baby. I can't wait to see it.
Let's do it. Oh, one thing I gotta tell you guys. Scott, I don't even know if I told you this. One of my favorite fucking roles by Vincent Price is Shock. But if you guys get the chance to see The Pit and the Pendulum, we're gonna try to show that right here on Killer Kitchen in the next couple weeks. Edgar Allan Poe's The Pit and the Pendulum is ultimately the scariest story he's ever written, and by far Vincent Price's most prized role. I can't think of another one that I love him more in, and that includes House on Haunted Hill in 1957.
You got Edgar Allan Poe and Vincent Price.
It's really cool. You guys, that episode will not appear on the Killer Kitchen Angry 80s Guy channel. You will only see that on the real Killer Kitchen. Alright, let's roll it.
I'm glad to just subscribe. Roll it, baby. Let's do it.
Hello, Doctor.
Come in.
I hope you hadn't gone to bed.
No.
They told me at the hospital I'd find you here.
I didn't expect to see you so soon, Mr. O'Neill. I thought you'd phone me if there were any developments.
I had to serve the papers.
Oh, yes?
Coroner's inquest subpoena. Now it's legal.
What did the coroner find?
Your wife was murdered, Doctor.
Oh? Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Sit down, Mr. O'Neill.
She was beaten over the head, suffered an explosive fracture. Death was practically instantaneous.
This prowler you told me about, you think he did it?
It seems so. He clubbed Mrs. Harwood. Your wife went out the same way. A pattern. Killers usually follow a pattern.
You don't know how she was killed. I mean, the weapon?
She was struck with a candlestick.
A candlestick? Are you sure?
A heavy silver one.
How can you know?
Microscope. There were particles of silver in the wound. They told us it was a silver object. There were bits of wax mixed in with the silver. They told us it was a candlestick. Must have been a heavy candlestick to have done the damage. Just routine, Doctor.
A criminal doesn't have much of a chance these days, does he?
No, sir. By the way, do you have any silver candlesticks at the lodge?
We might have.
I'd like your permission to go through the house. The murderer may have left the candlestick behind, in which case we'll get fingerprints. If he got rid of the weapon, we may be able to find the mate. Then we'll know what to look for.
Of course, go right ahead.
Thanks. Now, if we can find the candlestick, our troubles are over. By the way, when did you see Mrs. Cross last? Alive, I mean.
Oh, a couple of weeks before she was killed. Why?
Can you place it a little more definitely?
I think so. Things had been piling up around here, and I needed a change. So I drove down to Point Lobos on a Friday night.
Anyone see you?
I don't think so. Why?
We're trying to fix the exact time of her death.
Well, I'm not sure anyone saw me. I drove down there on Friday night, left there around 9:30 Saturday night.
Well, it's not too important.
Naturally, I want to do everything I can to help you, Mr. O'Neill. If I think of anything, I'll get in touch with you.
Thanks. Sorry to bother you so late.
That's all right.
See you at the inquest. Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
Sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep only unto her, so long as ye both shall live.
I will.
What's the matter, Richard? You haven't been yourself lately. Something on your mind? Darling, what's happening with us? Richard, I must speak to you. People are talking about you and that nurse, Miss Jordan. How do you like my hair, Richard? Of course, I've had it dyed. Everyone says it makes me look years younger.
I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose.
Then we'd be safe. No matter what the district attorney's office found, we'd be safe.
Get me Lieutenant Stewart, please. The treatment itself consists of a series of shocks brought on by injections of insulin. The dosage and the degree of shock is gradually increased until we've reached what we feel is the limit the patient's system can stand.
Well, if you do give Janet this insulin, how certain can you be that it'll help her?
I'm neither a miracle man nor a prophet, Lieutenant. If medicine were an exact science and not an art, I might be able to tell you.
But you think there's a chance?
Yes, I do.
I have seen it work in the Army. All right, Doctor, go ahead and try it.
Fine. We'll begin the treatment tomorrow morning. Give her about an hour and a half. Now watch her. Dextrose, we'll bring her out now.
No, leave her. No.
Is Dr. Harvey in?
Yes, he's in. Do you have an appointment?
I'll be glad to consult with you, Doctor.
I'm sorry to break in this way.
But my secretary will make the appointment.
I had to see you, Doctor. It's about my wife. She's been getting insulin shock treatments.
Now, just a moment, young man. Oh, it's Lieutenant Stewart. Well, we've had some wonderful results with insulin.
But after 3 treatments, she still insists she saw Dr. Cross murder his wife with a candlestick.
Murder his wife?
Yes, and she says he's trying to kill her now.
Well, that's a very common delusion.
Mrs. Cross is dead, and Dr. Cross did live in our hotel.
You and the Crosses were in the same hotel?
The Belmont Arms.
I see. And when was it she said that? Yesterday?
Yes, after the treatment.
You realize it's hard to make generalizations. But as a rule, the patient is completely normal immediately after insulin shock. They may relapse into their hallucination after this lucid period. But for that moment, No matter how bad the case, the patient speaks the truth.
You're telling me in your own way that Janet's normal. That she's got something on Cross, and he's pretending she's crazy to save his own neck.
Well, I'm not saying quite that, but,
Will you read this, Doctor?
Get Dr. Cross at his sanatorium, please. It seems inconceivable. Hello, Dr. Cross.
I'm sorry, Dr. Harvey. Dr. Cross is with Mrs. Stewart. No, sir, this is Dr. Stevens' day off.
I see. Thank you. Well, Lieutenant, I think a trip is in order.
She's the only one who knows, Richard. No matter what O'Neill says or anyone else, if she's out of the way, we've nothing to worry about. They can hint and guess all they want, but without her, they have nothing.
I've got to bring her out of it.
No. No, you can't. Dick, you can't.
Dextrose, Elaine, I've got to save her. I've got
You can't. I won't let you. We've got to go through with this.
Don't you understand? I can't go through with
It's
it.
her life or ours. No one will ever know.
Elaine.
Richard, listen to me.
Let go of her.
Richard, I love you.
Let go.
Richard! Richard!
Dr. Cross, where is he?
Mrs. Stewart.
Come along, I may need you. Adrenaline, quickly. Don't worry, son. She'll come out of it in a couple of hours, and you'll be able to take her home in 2 or 3 days.
I'm very grateful to you, Doctor. Oh, Janet, darling. September 13th. In the case of Janet Stewart. I gave her insulin shock again today, for the 4th time. Can you give me a minute?
Harvey completed the treatment successfully, and the case is closed.
Will return to Killer Kitchen only on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel.
Uncut, uninterrupted. 4 hair-raising, spine-tingling, twisted tales of the unexpected. Going my way? Of the disconnected.
Who's on the line?
Of the resurrected.
Well, he's alive. He's a dummy. He's a black on wood.
And the misdirected.
I was only trying to protect my home.
For the best from the Twilight Zone. Monday night at 8 on Channel 11.
You're sick people, all of you.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. Over this station, we will bring you the awe and mystery of modern science, which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits. The outer limits.
We now return to Killer Kitchen.
I hope you guys enjoyed the ending of our film just as much as I've enjoyed creating for you our finished product for stained glass candy. But did we overcook it? Did we not let it set the right way? Well, you know, there's only one way to find out. Oh, yeah, baby. And that is how you make your ass some glass candy. Okay, I gotta try it. Now, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Scott, my friend, I don't mean to gross you out. I have the worst oral hygiene. I don't brush my ass. That's why, like, candy's bad for me. But but I gotta try this. I gotta take at least one bite. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this. Yeah. Look at that.
Good? Is it good? You're gonna have to send me some.
Dude, that's twisted cool.
It turned out good.
Pam, do you see that shit?
I see it. It worked.
Dude, that shit's fucking... Dude, if it were 1969, I'd be asking for the purple haze.
Broke your tooth.
That shit fucking awesome. Oh, ow. God damn it, ow. That is some good shit, though. It's worth the hours.
I'd ride it for some of that candy.
Here's the broken up. And then you just pull it up a little bit. And you got yourself some broken glass candy. And now,
that we figured out how to do this. Our next project is to make broken glass candy and peanut butter and jelly cups. They're just like Reese's peanut butter cups, but they're better because they have jelly. And peanut butter and jelly rocks. And speaking of peanut butter and jelly, Scott, I was telling you about my new show, well, not new show, but excuse me, I'm still chewing this fucking nasty candy. It tastes fucking good, but the shit's stuck in my teeth. These are our pretzels.
That's incredibly good, delicious stuff. I just am not there to get some of it. You're gonna have to save me some.
It'll be here for you, man. Or we can easily make you up some more. But no, you heard me telling you about the new channel, The Real Angry 80s Guy. I'm right here on YouTube. You guys can't miss it. Just type it in. It's like it literally comes right up.
Yeah, just subscribed.
Right up. Thank you, brother. So we're all right here, and I'm going to tell you guys, The Real Killer Kitchen. Well, here on the Angry 80s Guy, you're going to get the show presented black and white because we just had to bring you some class. Now, the movie will still be black and white, but on The Real Killer Kitchen, you can see this entire episode in either black and white or full color. And when you do, I want you guys to remember that I wanted to give you a classic 1950s style episode. We started in color, and we're going to end in color. To watch the full thing in color, you are going to lose something. So, there's your spoiler alert. Watching it in color, you're going to take away from yourself, and you're only going to steal from yourself. Stick with the black and white that's here on the Angry 80s Guy.
That's not promoting your channel.
Well, you can watch it in color or black and white on the new channel. But the new channel is going to be nothing but Killer Kitchen, Vincent's Varieties, all the stuff that gets cut out. All the stuff that normally on my real channel, I'm like, I don't know, maybe not. You guys got full access. No interruptions, no abrupt breaks. We're going to come in, we're going to have some fun. And you know what? There's going to be nights I'm going to be a dick and I'm just going to say shit that I've got to say. And when I'm done saying it, at the end, I hope you guys end up laughing and having a good time. Because I might be saying crazy shit, but, you know, you got to admit, it's pretty funny to watch some asshole on YouTube to go nuts.
Go nuts, buddy. Go nuts, Larry. Go nuts, Vincent.
So, hey, you know, I'm thinking, we got just enough time, Scott. What do you say you and me hang out for just a few more little bit, and let's watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon?
I love bugs.
All right, what do you say? Well, let's do it. This is the Looney Tunes, TOONS, right here on the Angry 80s Guy YouTube channel, and only on The Real Killer Kitchen.
get a load of this, folks. It says here, a constant menace to pilots are the gremlins who wreck planes with their diabolical sabotage. Gremlins. Oh, murder. Gremlin. What a fairy tale. Little man. Oh, brother. What's all the hubbub? Bub?
These blockbuster bombs don't go off unless you hit them just right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, Mac. Let me take a whack at it.
What am I doing?
Why, you little... Gasp? Hey, I bet that was a... Say, do you think that... Hey, could that have been a... gremlin? It ain't Vendel Vilkey! Well, did you hit the head of one of them?
Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
That way.
Well, gee, thanks a lot, George. Thanks a lot.
What's the matter, Bunny Rabbit? Speak to me. Why don't you say something?
I'm only 3.5 years old.
I like him. He's silly. Gremlin. Nice gremlin. Woo!
Sorry, folks. We ran out of gas. Yeah, you know how it is with these A-cards.
This camera's on.
It's on? It's rolling?
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah. So, that is The Falling Hair, 1942. You know, believe it or not, Scott, I don't know how much of this you've actually heard, but there was a lot of actual talk of creatures that got onto the planes in the war, and they would dismantle the engines. They were called gremlins. The Twilight Zone even made a famous episode with Captain Kirk.
Yes, Captain Kirk. Something on the wing.
William Shatner. There's something out there.
Yeah, and it's on the wing. That's the classic thing.
No, I love the scene. He's pressing the button really quick, and he's like waving, and he's like, quickly, quickly. And he's like, out there. And they look at it, and they're like, there's nothing there. And he looks back, and he's like, and he gets it all of a sudden. He's like, oh, I'm just crazy, huh? Never mind. We'll crash before I do anything about it. But then, like, he sees that thing coming back on the wing and ripping apart the engine. Well, you know what's cool is in the movie version of that in 1980, they actually showed the engine all tore up.
Wait. They made a movie version of that?
Yes. Well, it was a movie, Twilight Zone, 1980, and since Rod Serling had already passed away, it was actually narrated by the Twilight Zone's very own Burgess Meredith, the obsolete man himself. Now, I wish I could show these on the channel, but I've tried twice. The last time they totally dismantled my channel and we had to start from scratch. That's how you guys found me. I learned to behave myself. I check first. Can I use the movie, Master? Yes, mister. Yes, mister. I will do the movie you tell me. Yes, mister. Oh, dude, I love all those old school. That's what I mean. Like, with the new channel, brother, all those episodes that I wouldn't put up here on the Angry 80s guy because they just don't fit, you will be able to find on the real Killer Kitchen. Because they'll only be put there. The most you're going to get here, I'm going to show you like a preview of what we're going to do. And what's happening, but there's certain episodes that are only going to be reserved for the real Angry 80s guy. Or for the real Killer Kitchen.
That's easier for me too, because I try to add all your full episodes to one list, and then like.
Oh, right on.
Your old school commercial collections, another list.
Right now we're working diligently. Right now we're working diligently. Every once in a while I'm going to post some of the old ones as a premiere on the new channel. I do got to tell you though, I'm only allowed like 5 or 6 uploads every 24 hours. So I might upload 5 or 6 episodes in a row, and they're going to be all the old ones that are here on the Angry 80s guy. But I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. You guys should know too. I have a rogue channel out there. When that guy hacked our shit last year, and I made that video, fuck you, I hate you. We attempted to go full on with this once before. 22 episodes. All of those episodes don't exist here on the Angry 80s guy. So you'll only find those new episodes if you can locate that rogue channel, or if you tune in to the real Killer Kitchen. They will never once appear. They were bad episodes. Well, you guys might like them. To me, they were bad episodes, better left forgotten. But upon looking at them and finding them, there's a little bit of nostalgia for me, because that was when we all first started doing this. As before the aprons and the shirts, and you guys used to tune in just to watch me get drunk and bitch about liberals. So yeah, I think Scott, I think you guys honestly might enjoy the new channel a lot more. There's going to be a lot more content, a lot more basic content. You still there, buddy?
Would you like to close the show?
Well, it looks like we lost Scott. This has been Killer Kitchen. I hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys come back again next week, where we will be making a man-eating slug while watching 1988's very own Slugs. You might think they're slimy and just annoying, but you never know what your government's up to and what might be lying in the dark when your government's been afoot. Hope to see you right here on the next episode of Killer Kitchen, where we've always got something cooking and nothing is ever as it seems.
From bad to verse.
Are you guys into the whole gross, moldy, and weird?
Don't miss the most misunderstood ghoul in showbiz.
On Killer Kitchen.
Saturday nights at 10 on WKZF, Channel 68.